Let's evaluate each of them together. When we run this code block, division by 0 error occurs. So let's have a look at the first one. Because the first one is true, the trueness or falseness of this whole expression is determined by the second parameter. So it will just return the second parameter as the result. That is why 13 appears here. So this one is solved. And when we try to evaluate this expression, the first parameter is false. So the whole falseness or trueness of this whole expression is determined by the second parameter, right? So if this one is true, then the whole expression is true. If this one is false, then the whole expression is false. So rather than evaluating this part, Python just returns this value. Okay, so that is why 0 appears here. And something larger than 0 is considered true by Python. And this value is true. So not true is false. So that is why false appears here. Okay. And I didn't told you about this. However, none means nothing, as I told you. And nothing is considered false in logic. So this one is basically false, and not false is true, right? So that is why true appears here. So this one is solved. And let's have a look at the fifth one. Here, the first value is true. So it doesn't have to look at the first part. However, it has to look at these parts. However, we have another and here, and this one does not determine the trueness of this expression, right? If this one is true as well, then the trueness of this expression is determined by the third parameter. So it has to evaluate the second parameter, right? However, the second parameter is 1 divided by 0. However, we cannot divide some numbers by 0. And when this happens, when we try to do this, Python incurs an error. And it is called zero division error, okay? So that's why an error occurred here. And what will be the results of running this expression? It's going to be just true, because the first expression is true. We don't have to look at the rest of it, right? So this part is not executed by Python. So even though we have divide by 0 part here, it is not evaluated. So that's why there is no error occurred. Okay? So Python tries to make this process quite efficient. So if the first parameter is true, it doesn't have to look at the rest of it. Okay? And what is the result of running this part? This part is true. Something other than 0 is true, and 1 is larger than 0, so it is true. And this one, again, incurs an error because it has to evaluate the first expression. And the first expression is 1 divided by 0, and it is an error, okay? And what will be the results of the last expression? It is going to be false. Even though this one is true, there is false here, so it is going to be false, right? So up to this point, we talked about the print function. and the non-object. And we talked about the integer variables, string variables, and Boolean variables. And the last variable type I'm going to introduce in this class today is strings. In Python, defining string is very easy. Single apostrophe or double apostrophe, it doesn't matter. You can use either of them, okay? Python doesn't differentiate between single apostrophe or double apostrophe. And you can print out hello like this. And you can also count the number of characters in this variable like this, okay? So this is going to be hello, and the length of this variable, 5. And we can do addition and subtraction, addition of strings like this. You can print out hello plus world like this. Then it will concatenate hello and world. Like this. And you might want to combine strings and numbers. So for example, if you want to print out hello plus num1 plus world like this, an error occurs. You cannot add string and numbers like this. However, you can convert numbers into strings by calling stir function. Here I call it a function. In fact, it is class initiator. Anyway, you can convert numbers into strings like this. And you can do another conversion like this. This is what you can expect. Okay, hello plus string 123 plus world. And one cool thing is you can actually add number 123 and non-string. However, you need another conversion process. This one will not work. However, you can convert in strings that are in the form of integers into integer by calling this int function. Then this will convert string 123 into number 123 and add this number to 123 like this. All right, so the results will be 2, 4, 6. So you need to be careful about converting strings into numbers and numbers into strings. And Python offers some special functions for strings. You can call these functions by string variable dot. You can capitalize all these characters like this. You can also call upper function like this. Then all the characters inside this string will be capitalized. And you can also find out the center like this. So there are multitudes of functions offered by Python. You can replace L by ELL like this. So you can have a look at the full list of these functions by typing dot here. And if you just try to, if you cannot come up with the full name, you just type some of the function name, then it will show you some candidates, all right? And I will leave the link of the full list of functions offered by Python.
And we'll continue on talking about variables. And I told you that in Python, a variable can store literally anything. So you can assign some values to variables like this. You can use this equal sign, equal symbol. And you can change the value of variables using other variables like this. So here, B is going to be A plus B, and A is going to be B. And when we print out A and B, the result is going to be 2 and 3. So A became 2 and B became A plus B, 3. And there are some predefined variables or names or functions. So some of them are like, you can call this expression or variables or names, whatever you want to call them. And as you can imagine, this min function or min name, the name min, finds out the minimum among the past parameters, and max, as you can infer from the name, returns the maximum value among the past parameters, given parameters. So the maximum value among 1 to 3 is 3, so 3 is printed out, and the minimum value among 1 to 3 is 1. You can add like other numbers like this. It will still work, right? And another fun thing you can do with Python variables or names is, you guys might remember the name print, right? You printed out some numbers or text. And if we assign this print name to this PPP variable, then PPP now becomes print. So it will do the same thing as what print does, all right? And here I would like to give you one problem to think about. So can you guys guess what the result of executing this code block?